Raiders lose 28-14. Watching this game, I mean, even with probably one of the most dismal, that brought me back to like, some of the worst, Donald Hollins type first halves for the Raiders here. It was a bad first half for them offensively. They didn't really protect at all. Really struggled to give Carr some time. And then, it was just a mess as far as that goes. I mean, there's plays on the field. It's just when you go to the game and you get that kind of both of us were high enough up where we can see that all 22 view and you can see who was open. And if there's times where the offensive line just touched the offensive, I mean, the defensive ends or defensive tackles, is a first down. Especially one where there was one where Waller came out and he was just. I don't know how these defenses don't cover some of these players who are the best players on the teams, but Waller is probably still running, the way he runs. So thoughts about the offensive line. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about their performance. And then in the same segment, we'll talk about how to fix the offensive line as well. What are your thoughts about the way they played in this game?
It's interesting. They clearly didn't show up in the first half. That's been a theme so far this year, just not coming out of the gate, opening couple of drives and being able to establish an identity. It's concerning they couldn't run the ball against the Chargers, who had the worst ranked defense, but the Chargers did something a little bit different. Going back and looking at it, I came out here last week and I said, hey, they're not going to play a zero technique on the top of right over Andre James. They should be able to run the zones. Well, guess what they did? They played a zero technique quite often early in that game to shut down the run game. And when they didn't, it just seems like when I watched every play in the first half, someone did something wrong every play, and they just couldn't get a first down. It was really baffling to me right away. The first two plays runs to Jacobs, the running zone. You have a 3 technique over the right guard, and you have Andre James who's trying to double the 3 technique where the right guard already has the leverage to move him in a zone scheme instead of working to the second level. And they just don't block the middle linebacker. Pass protection. It's been A gap blitzes that have given this team problems this week. The Chargers were bringing guys through the B gap. They were challenging the guard and the tackle's communication. They just didn't pick it up. They didn't pick up any stunts or twists. John Simpson, to me, is a problem in pass blocking right now, because if you just watch the film, he wants to annihilate guys and bury them into the ground. But what he's doing is he's driving guys in the ground or pushing him towards the center, and they're just looping around, and he has no idea. He doesn't see it coming because he's so locked in on his guy. Yeah. The teams are starting to take advantage of that, looping around him. And the best thing that came out of me, everything that went wrong in that game, the fourth down or the third down run that got overturned, I don't know how you overturn it based on the video on that. The Waller taunting penalty, they were in it. They were driving to tie the game midway through the fourth quarter. So there is some fight in this team. They did make enough adjustments to get back in the game. I thought the defense played fairly well against a high-powered team. Now, they need to stop the run. That's the major issue. Like, they held Herbert in check for the most part, but you can't give up 170 yards on the ground to the Chargers.
Yeah.
But some guys are starting to flash. Trayvon Morgan's starting to flash. Amik Robertson showed up.
He had a great PBU in that game, in a clutch moment. Yeah. In that game too. So.
I still think Corey Littleton is doing well on tape. Denzel Perryman's doing well, but the issue on this team right now is clearly the offensive line. They can't run the ball, and they can't pass protect. And teams are bringing 5 guys a lot. They're manning up every one of these guys, or they're bringing blitzes, and the offensive line communication just isn't there. I don't know who's setting the protections. I don't know if it's James or if it's Carr. Clearly, it needs to be Carr at this point, because if it is James, the protections are all messed up. So something needs to change on that offensive line, hopefully this week, moving forward.
Cool. And like, here's what I saw too, is I saw that Carr is, ready for the snap. I think I would almost even if you go, with some heavy wide receiver groups, whatever, so I would still probably have Carr in the center. It just seems like he gets the ball quicker. When he doesn't, the ball is snapped to Carr from Andre James, it looks like a butterfly just flying in the wind. Like, it really does look like that. He's sitting there with his body.
A knuckleball.
Exactly. He's sitting there with his body turned this way, trying to get ready to throw the ball, trying to accommodate a center who is not doing it the right way. Like, it should be the other way around. Like, he was here for a long period of time. He was here behind Rodney Hudson. where they were grooming you clearly to be the next, center for the Las Vegas Raiders, and we're just sitting here waiting for these snaps to come through, and they're just floating in the air, and now we got it. And then if somebody on the if on the right, if the right tackle misses the block, or you get a stunt, or somebody's right in his face already. That drove me crazy in this game. When you see it, you see how much time it takes. It's just weird. As far as that goes. I think this offense has so many dynamic weapons. I never want to see a game unless it's like they go to Cleveland and they have inclement weather. There should never be a game where this team scores 14 points again. Like that is just, it's just too much talent on the football field for that. Jacobs, I'm not sure if can Jacobs be the focal point of an offense. I think this team really at this point, and I know what Gruden wants to do. I understand it, but I think sometimes you have to adjust to what you have on the team, and you have to kind of pass to run and not run the pass right now. Just in my opinion, I just feel like it's just a better way of doing it. And I think when you start these games off, like these trips on the right side where they have like the little diamond shaped here, and you have you have Waller over there, you have Ruggs and Renfro, like. Just start the game off with that. Like you cannot. That's difficult as hell to deal with for anybody. And I'm not sure what's going on with starting these games, but we need some points in the first quarter. Like you can't. They can't keep doing this. You're playing a opponent this week where you got to take advantage of that opportunity. But they really have to. On the offense, they really have to start doing. Maybe those money plays have to come a little bit earlier in the game, instead of trying to feel people out all the time. Let's just get some points on the board and then try to adjust from there.
I totally agree. They need to take shots early in the game on 1st and 10. And we saw it on the bomb to Ruggs. It was 1st and 10 inside your own 10-yard line. You go heavy, 21 personnel, and then you go play action. You run the Yankee and you throw the deep post. They can't line up in heavy personnel on 1st down and 10 and just try to pound the ball. The offensive line is not moving anybody in the run game. So, I know Gruden wants to line up in 3rd and short. I know he wants to line up in 4th and short and run the ball. It's just not working. And late in the 4th quarter, they had that 4th and 1. They went for it. They went play action, quick roll out, quick whip route in the flat to Renfro 1st down. Why are we not calling that earlier in the game? Why are we saving that for 28-14 with 3 minutes left in the game?
Exactly.
When you need a 1st down. But I think they do need to take shots earlier. I think the focal point right now early in games is get the running game going, and then let's try to find Renfro and Waller. Brian Edwards, do we throw him passes in the first 3 quarters of games? Like, why are we not incorporating him?
He played the most snaps of any wide receiver, didn't he, this week?
Yeah.
I totally agree on that point as well.
You can see what teams are doing now. They figured it out when it gets to 3rd down. They're doubling Renfro or Waller pretty much every 3rd down. And then when they get in the red zone, they're doubling Waller pretty much every time. So someone else is going to have to step up. But more importantly, they're going to have to start designing plays to go to those other guys. Because when you're like the 3rd and 3 in field goal range, when it was 28-14 on the sack, that was basically a 2x2 stack where you had Waller clearing out and then you had an option route or a choice route for Renfro, but they bracketed him. The safety came down. They had inside and outside leverage, so Renfro couldn't go anywhere. That was it. And he didn't have time, obviously, to step up and make another read, but they need to start, designing stuff for other guys and getting them involved. Foster Moreau at this point with 3 catches through 4 games. They're not using him. They didn't use Kenyon Drake in the passing game. Now, I know they didn't get a ton of 1st downs, so they didn't have a ton of opportunities to call a lot of plays, but they got to get creative with these guys. And they're not going to be able to run the ball right now by lining up in 13 personnel or 22 personnel. They're going to have to get creative in the run game. The split zone, which they like to run a lot, is just not working right now. And they're just, like I said, they may need to go back to power. I think what's really going to happen is I think they're going to make some changes to the offensive line this week and see if that can get the running game going.
Yeah, I think you got to get that. Everything can't be about the running game too. Like, to me, if I tell you right now, you get a 15-yard run, do you care what formation group it is? Like,
I don't care how they do it.
Exactly. I think for Gruden, it matters though. Like, he doesn't want to do it from shotgun, RPO. Like, he wants to do it from heavy
Heavy.
personnel. I'm going to run it down your throat. You know it's coming, and I want to rip a 15-yarder right at you. And that shouldn't matter. Like, get the running game going any way you possibly can. It doesn't matter how you do it. Let's fix this offensive line real quick. Left tackle Colton Miller ain't going nowhere, right? We know
No,
that.
he's the best guy on the line right now.
Best guy in the line, no question. So left guard, what are we doing at left guard? Are we Simpson's going to stay there?
If I was the coach,
Yeah.
I would move Illuminor over there. Simpson's just struggling too much. Too many errors in pass protection, too many errors in the run game. Illuminor he's not getting movement in the run game, but he's holding up okay in the pass game, and then he's not really getting penalties either. Simpson's getting some penalties, and I think Simpson just isn't ready yet. Not to say he won't be in the next few weeks, but I think it would be good for him to sit down for a week or two.
Didn't Illuminor play some tackle last year as well?
He played right tackle.
Right tackle. Was that murderous? Like, was he like terrible out there? You want to stay away from it? I mean, it can't be worse than what's going on right now. So yeah, it can be worse than what's going on right now. So
no, I haven't seen him out there. I think they do have the best swing tackle in football, according to Gruden and Cable. Find out what happens at right tackle.
In center, are we going to ride with Andre James, Mr. Butterfly snap? As far as that goes, or would you? If it was me, I'm gonna ride. I'm gonna give Nick Martin a chance here. I'm gonna give Nick Martin a chance here. Just for me, just for a week to see how it looks, because I'm not gonna lower my expectations of what I have for NFL center to accommodate Andre James. Andre James either should be doing this the right way instead of doing it his way. I'm not sure the blocking part of it is. I mean, it's up and down with him. Him recognizing stunts and stuff like that. I'm seeing him double team one guy and another guy just loops on the other side. So that's not correct at all. So, I think Nick Martin, who I know Raider Nations hates, why? Because I was in a spaces with our guy Phil Jones, and people hate Nick Martin. But I would say this: he's more of a professional center than Andre James is right now. Maybe Andre James and Simpson could use that time to sit. As far as that goes, what are your thoughts about center right now?
Yeah, I think the Andre James experiment, to me, at this point, needs to hit the reset button. The run blocking is not good. The pass blocking is okay, but Linval Joseph knocked him over 3 or 4 times in that game. They're not getting any movement. He's not getting the second level. The snaps are questionable. If I'm Mike Mayock, I'm on the phone with the Houston Texans right now, and I want Justin Britt, who played in Seattle for Tom Cable. He's on a 1-year deal. Yeah. He's played right guard. He's played right tackle. He's played center. He's made 89 starts in this league and 90 potential games. I would see what it would take to get him, and I'd be more than willing to throw a 5th or 6th round pick. There's too much invested in this year right now to worry about the development of James or Leatherwood. Right now, it's about fixing the line so you don't get your quarterback killed, because we can leave James and Leatherwood out there all the Raiders want. If Derek Carr gets hurt, the season's over. So they need to do whatever they can to protect him, and they need to do it ASAP. So I would roll with Nick Martin for now, but I would try to get Justin Britt in a Raiders uniform as soon as I can.
No question about it. I co-sign that. Right guard.
Well, for me, I'm kicking Alex Leatherwood inside to right guard where he played at Alabama. The pass blocking on the edge is just way too inconsistent right now. And I know teams are going to say, or I've seen it online, people are giving backlash. And I mentioned this a week and a half ago, that those pass blocking issues are showing up, and they are going to be a problem when he starts facing Bosa, Miller, and Mack. And we saw what Bosa did to him on that strip sack. To me, he's got the size, the strength, the athleticism. Let's just put him inside, let him get comfortable, move guys in the running game, because the running game's got to get going.
Yeah,
you can always move him back to tackle.
Yeah, it's not a death sentence for him to go inside regulation.
A lot of guys do it.
Like, a lot of guys have done that. They go inside, and they can, and maybe a year from now he goes back outside. Like, we just want him to be an effective player. And right now he might be just him being able to maul inside. Maybe that gets it going for him. Like, maybe he can realize when 2 guys are crossing in front of him and which guy is his, recognizing blitzes and all the things like that. Maybe it'll be easier for him to do so. Right tackle, hate to say it, but
I can't believe I sent this in a text chat about a week and a half ago. That was before the Chargers game, but
we gotta do it.
I would give Brandon Parker a shot here. He's long. He's played okay, not great. But he's had stretches where he's been usable, even if it's just for a week or two. the line can't be any worse than it's been the first 4 weeks.
No.
If you make a couple of changes, maybe Simpson stays in at left guard, Illuminor goes to the bench, but that doesn't mean if these changes are made, they're set in stone for the next, till we get through week 17. If it doesn't go well for a couple of games, then you move Leatherwood back outside to continue development. But they're 3-1 at this point in the season, and I'm not willing to jeopardize a potential playoff season to develop two guys that we can wait on. They don't have to be dominant guys right now. And I'm done with the Colton Miller, Alex Leatherwood conversation. Those are two totally different players.
Yes.
I've
heard that. I heard that last night too.
Colton Miller was hurt. Colton Miller was hurt for most of that year and gutted through it. He cleaned up a false step with his footwork, but other than that, he was pretty good with his upper body. Alex Leatherwood right now, like, pass blocking is a tremendous problem with his hands. They're late. The timing's off. Like, he gives the corner too easy. When he reaches, he leans forward and bends, gets off balance. Guys are running right around him. And let's be honest, in the run game, it's not much better either. It's not like this guy's out there as a road grader right now at right tackle. So
do you remember?
You got to do it.
Do you remember the movie, Remember the Titans?
Oh, yeah.
When the little girl says, he's getting beat like he stole something. That's what's happening. So, like, instead of
he's graded as the worst right tackle, and I don't like PFF grades, but when you're the worst in the league, that's a problem. And like I said, this might be a 2-week thing. This might be for the rest of the season. We just need the offensive line to hold up. Right now, it's not even doing that. We're wasting opportunities, and that doesn't mean you can't develop Alex Leatherwood in the offseason, move him back to tackle, have him continue working, and try him again there next year. But it's not worth throwing away this season just to try to save face and say, well, Colton Miller got better, so Leatherwood. I can go down the list of Raiders offensive linemen that didn't get better. We want to start at Matt Stinchcomb and Robert Gallery and Mario Henderson. Like, I can give you 10 offensive linemen that they gave a chance to. And the team's in a different situation. Colton Miller was on a rebuilding team in 2018 where they didn't have a chance. Like, they traded Mack. They ended up trading Cooper. They won 4 games. So they just left him out there and let him ride. This team has playoff aspirations, and people are going to lose jobs if the Raiders don't get to the playoffs. So it's professional football. Feelings are going to get hurt. If Alex Leatherwood has to slide inside, then he has to slide inside for the betterment of the team.
But for Leatherwood, didn't we hear about this in Alabama when they were saying, oh, he's played every single if he's played every single position, then he should be fine going inside. He should be fine going inside.
And we haven't even talked about the penalties. He's getting like 2 or 3 penalties a game. False starts, holdings, like
false starts in critical situations. What the Raiders have a bye after the Giant game, right? Or before the Giant game?
Before. So after
the Giant game. So and this is me, I'm just spitballing here. And I'm not going too far ahead because we haven't previewed the Bear game yet. But I'd have to say the Raiders are 3-1. If they're not
5-2.
5-2. I kind of looking at who you're playing.
Should be 6-1.
They really should be 6-1 going. It's gonna be a disappointment if they're not 6-1. Like, I mean, I hate to like say it like that, but like they really should be 6-1 going into. They're gonna be favored in all 3 of these ball games.
Is Drew Lock playing next week?
I mean, it shouldn't even matter. But let's just be real. So, if they lose any of these games, I mean, maybe the Eagles front, but like at the end of the day, the Eagles give up 50 points to the Chiefs. So like I'm just throwing it out there for right now, as far as that goes.
The good thing going over the next 3 weeks, the Raiders will have by far and away the better quarterback in both matchups.
Yes.
And 2 of these 3 games are at home. So 5-2 should be the low end here. Yeah. The Raiders should not be losing games to a rookie Justin Fields in his second real start. They should not be losing games to Jalen Hurts, and they should not be losing games to Teddy Bridgewater or Drew Lock. Now that Broncos game could be an issue because they can play defense, they can rush the passer, and they can run the football. But the Raiders need to figure out if in the past it was, hey, we need an average defense. Now we're saying, if you just give us an average offensive line, this team's going to score 30 points a game.
Yes.
But we'll see. It's going to be very interesting.
We saw it last year.
It's surprising that Gruden didn't talk today at the press conference because normally on Wednesdays it's Gruden. Maybe that was because he talked yesterday because they played on Monday night. But there are reports, and to reiterate, I did mention this on Twitter after the game and last week that Leatherwood should move inside at this point. But there are reports from various people that Leatherwood did practice at left guard, right guard, and right tackle today. Yeah. But those have not been confirmed by beat writers.
Yeah. I think that they shouldn't feel salty about it. Just do it.
No.
Just do it. Just do it, dude. Just do it. I mean, who's the guy that the tackle that the Dolphins drafted with the long last name? Hickenberg or something like that. Eichenberg or something.
Liam Eichenberg.
Liam Eichenberg. He moved inside.
Yeah. Austin Jackson moved inside. He was a first rounder last year.
Yeah, let's go.
Just get the 5 best guys on the field. It doesn't matter where they're playing.
That's all that matters. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. Defensive notes here about this game. So yes, the defense did a good job of holding it down. They gave 14 points, 47 points in the second half. I think the one thing that I didn't like was, number one, that's on Gruden did this defense a huge disservice by not getting that first down late. You gotta ensure you get that first down. You gotta keep, especially with Carr's ability to score, at the end of halves. Like, you gotta get that first down just so your defense can rest. You can't put them back on the field. They probably did get the first down, but they need to get a clear first down. Like, this whole hoping for, and to me, I texted you immediately during the game. I was like, that was a great challenge by Staley, because you had nothing to lose. Why not? It was before the 2-minute warning, which made it even worse, because when I saw him throw the red flag and it was 2:14 on the clock, I was like, damn, it's before the 2-minute warning, so he still has a right to do that. It's just not. I mean, to me, it wasn't a good move. For them, they really need to get that first down. Defense came back on. Now it's 21-0, and you're kind of going uphill as far as that goes. I still think one thing is pretty clear, is that I like Abram. I love his ability to hit. I feel like when he fills the hole, he really fills it. But a couple of those, I mean, especially I think the one to Jared Cook was, he has to carry. He has to play the defense. Don't play hero ball. Like, everybody, if all 11 have to be one, if you yourself do what you want to do, then they're gonna find the one person who's open. And on that play, it was Jared Cook, and now that was a huge play in that game. I mean, that they could have held him to a field goal there. That could have made all the difference in the game.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting, the call on 3rd and 1, putting Jacobson at fullback and Drake at halfback. And you want to know why they didn't get that first time? Because Andre James got his butt kicked on that play, and Jacobs had to try to bounce it to the opposite A gap, and he got tackled. I'm going to argue that he got the first down, but clearly Park Avenue knew better. Good thing we didn't get an index card to measure that, though. But as far as the defense, they drew up some good plays to beat cover 3. Like, there was some really, like, that first drive to Jared Cook, where they kind of ran an out in a 2x2, and then he worked up the seam. Like, they knew there was going to be a hole there, and there was really no way to guard that. But the game came down to, they didn't stop the run. They didn't get any stops in the red zone. They gave up 4 touchdowns, I think, no field goal attempts, and then they gave up those two fourth downs, where they were aggressive at midfield. And Jared Cook made a great catch in the fourth quarter on that ball against Denzel Perryman on that wheel route, and Perryman had his arm in there, and somehow
that was
Cook
a great
came
play.
Up with it.
That was great.
It was a great play.
That was tough.
The red zone touchdown, like you're talking about, the second one, and the 2x2 formation, they're playing cover 3, and Abram comes up. Now, if the number 2 receiver in that formation, which was Jared Cook, runs a vertical, there should be a seam alert call, and then he should be in kind of it's called a soft sky in the cover 3, where he has to take that vertical route because there is no one behind him.
Yep.
And that's, it was a great throw.
Yeah,
it was a great throw, great catch, but they knew where to attack this team, and Bradley mixed it up a little bit. You saw Merrick play a little bit more in the box, Abram play a little bit more deep. You saw a lot more cover 4 in this game. There was a little bit more man. I think they did really well containing those outside guys, but the problem was they gave up the flats to a team. The Chargers are going to take that they're going to take the profit, as Gruden says, and Herbert's going to throw the ball in the flats, and they were getting 5 and 10 yards whenever they wanted it.
Yeah. I mean, the Chargers put themselves in a lot of second and shorts, which was really
let's not get the Chargers are a good team. It's not like the Raiders went out and embarrassed themselves against the Jaguars. The Chargers have a real chance to be a legitimate AFC contender this year.
Yeah, no question. And that's true. That's true. Yannick, where you at, cousin? Like, I mean, I know the injuries, everything like that, but I need a sack. I need a strip sack. I need something on the outside. I mean, I gotta hold the defense. I gotta hold the offense accountable. I gotta hold defense accountable too. I know it's improved, but we have to still still talk about stuff like that. And I feel like Yannick has to kind of come through in some of these moments here, where he's supposed to be that leader and that leader on the defensive line. As far as that goes, hold people to field goals. I mean, that's huge. I mean, you got to be able to do that. I mean, you can't give a touchdown every single time. I know KJ Wright got caught in a wheel route right there at the end. That was a tough play for him to kind of deal with that. I thought they ran a play in this game that was really cool where play action fake looked like the fullback was gonna they had a tight end at fullback and it looked like he was gonna stay in and block, and then he went out for a pass.
That was on Nate Hobbs.
No, Nate
That was
Hobbs,
Nate
right?
Hobbs' guy.
No, Nate Hobbs,
Yeah.
yeah. So that was actually pretty. I mean, my thing was like, if you don't engage him I mean, you should be. If somebody, you should be engaging somebody at the point of attack. If somebody if somebody's trying to like kind of avoid you or try to get, I mean, it's gonna be a pass play. So, tough play there as far as that goes. But yeah, I mean, this is what they. I mean, this is the hole they put themselves in this game. It would have been. I mean, I thought just maybe. I mean, they had this team, even with the 21-0 lead. When he hits Ruggs on that deep on that deep Yankee, I mean, that was where you kind of thought that, are they really going to come back from 21-0 down at the half and tie this game? And I just felt like, they had a little swing route to Zay Jones where I like to play a lot. And I think Zay Jones deserves some catches because he does so much for the team on special teams. I had no problem running a play for Zay Jones, and he's sure-handed as well. A better block, he might have more yards. But right after that, heavy personnel.
2nd and 5 run. Offensive line missed the blocks on that one.
Score, dude. Or on that, or stay in that formation. Give me Ruggs on one side, give me Edwards on the other side. And let's see. I mean, the play action off of that. The thing with Gruden is his conservatism of what he's stereotyped as a play caller works to his advantage, because he can do play action fake anytime he wants, because people always think he's going to run the football.
He doesn't call it though.
He doesn't call it. He doesn't call it. But I mean, I'm just saying. And the same thing with Gus Bradley. People always think like his blitzes are so infrequent, but when he does call it, they're highly effective because nobody ever thinks he's actually going to blitz. So I don't know. We'll see.
In Bradley's defense, they brought a ton of blitzes in the second half. Like they changed it up this week.
Yeah. They had to.
Yeah, you're right. Like fourth quarter, you're making your comeback. You hit the big play. Keep the foot on the gas. Put the pressure. Don't run the ball. They should have given up running the ball at that point in the game. And I know he said, "Hey, we got a run play that we liked. That's great. It hasn't worked all day." Right. And then they said, "We liked the third down play." The third down play was literally, we're going to just let Renfro run a choice route, and they doubled him. And then the pass rush got there. I don't agree with the people that are like, "Oh, Carr should have pulled it down and run." Like, if you watch it closely in the all-22, that guy was looping around. He was going to get Carr anyways. He wasn't going to get the first down if he ran. To me, I didn't like the look of it, how he kind of just cradled and fell over. But at the same time, he's not fumbling when he gets sacked, which is a huge thing for me. Like, if you're going to get sacked, don't turn it over. And he did. Yeah. Carlson, he's got to make that kick. It's a 52-yarder indoor. And I know it's a tougher kick, but he's proven he can do it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the game, they were close. If they get that first down, like you mentioned in the first half, if Waller doesn't get that taunting penalty, maybe they get a field goal on that drive.
Yeah.
If Perryman can break up that ball on fourth down, if they keep the foot on the gas pedal after the Ruggs play, so I'm going to give this team a ton of credit for fighting back, because this could have easily been the Rams game a couple of years ago when it was 52-0.
And the fact that they had 21 at the half and didn't even score 30, it was said a lot about how much fight this team has. So that's why I feel good about the upcoming games. But I would just say this to John: this is like the universal sign for like playing fast and huddle up and muddle huddle or a fast paced offense. As soon as you hit that thing to Ruggs, Let's go. Keep it
Go.
going. Keep it going, man. Keep that defense on the field because they feel it. Like they trust me. They
They
felt
were on the
like
ropes.
they were on the
For sure.
once Ruggs makes that play, they're like, oh blank. Are we really gonna lose a 21-point lead? Same old Chargers. That was the mentality.
I was thinking it.
Trust
I was
me.
like, same old Chargers.
Trust me. Trust
Um,
me. Trust me. Trust me.
But
How's that?
Brandon Staley is a really good coach. They had
He's
a really good game plan,
sharp
and
and aggressive. Sharp and aggressive. I would say
Justin
very
Herbert's a problem. So the Chargers are going to be a problem moving forward, along with the Chiefs. But the Raiders have the firepower to be right there with them. I can't wait for January 9th at Allegiant Stadium for that rematch to see what happens.
Yes, and I think after the words of what Bosa said about Carr, I think that's going to be interesting to see as well too, as far as that goes. Let's see. I think that was the last thing about the offense, defense. We talked about the specials as well. I thought that I thought for sure Carlson was going to make that kick. He didn't make that kick. I mean, it should have got to that kick anyway, but got to make that kick by all means necessary.